Okay, you'll take notes or whatever.
Do you, we can't testify by the notices and stuff. Okay.
All
And the
right,
postings.
okay.
Nice breeze.
Welcome to the Board of Adjustment meeting for the town of Ocean View, Delaware. Please stand for pledge of allegiance. Oh, excuse me, they're coming in the door now. Let's just hold it for 1 second.
I think we stood for that.
Yeah, I think we'll. Come in, please. Come in.
Please make yourself comfortable.
You also need to sign in the back at some point. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to all. As one of our applicants is signing in, we need approval of the agenda, gentlemen.
I move approval of the agenda for the meeting, please.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes, the agenda account approves. All right, approval of the minutes for May 19th.
I move that the minutes be accepted as written.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion has carried. Okay, Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, ma'am. This is a date, time, and place scheduled for 2 public hearings today. One is on B 431, 7 Stingray Harbor Drive. The second is B 432, 23 Murals. Court, okay. For the assembled masses of people that are here today, we will be going to the first application first. We'll have the applicant go first. The board can ask questions of the applicant. Once the matter goes past that point, we will ask for opponents or other people to speak. We are being broadcast over the World Wide Web. There will be people who have the opportunity to view this and may participate remotely during the process. So your testimony will be given under oath, and if you have a cell phone or an electronic device that makes noise, this is a good time to turn it off because I will get nasty if it rings. All right, so what I'd like to do here is, Madam Clerk, Ms. Oliver, would you state your name and raise your right hand, please? You swear the testimony you're about to give the Board of Adjustment of the Town of Ocean View is the truth and nothing but the truth. Mr. Semino, are you going to testify in any? Okay, Ms. Semino, would you do likewise? Your name, please?
Kenneth Simoneau.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give the Board of Adjustment of the Town of Ocean View is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Logan, do you anticipate speaking? Thank you very much. Ms. Oliver, if you will, please, for the benefit of the record, can you tell me if notices were sent to all the property owners within 200 feet of this particular property?
Yes.
And was there an advertisement of this meeting published in the local newspaper, the Coastal Point? I believe, correct? And was there a sign posted on the property indicating that this property was the subject of a Board of Adjustment hearing?
Yes.
And all of these matters will appear in the file of the town as it's kept, right? Okay, thank you very much. The application before us is B431, which was an application submitted by Capstone Homes LLC on behalf of the property owners Leo and Jean Canginelli. The applicant seeks a variance from Article 16, Section 140-100-D as in Delta 12B4 and Article 3, Section 187-10-A of the Town Code, which allows driveways to be a maximum of 20 feet through the right of way. The property owners wish to maintain an existing driveway that exceeds this requirement on property zoned R1 Single Family Residential District. Mr. Semino, did you have comments for the benefit of the board?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
The applicant seeks a variance from Article 16, Section 140, 100D, parentheses 12, B4, and Article 3, Section 187-10A of the Town Code, which allow driveways to be a maximum of 20 feet through the right of way. The property owners wish to maintain an existing driveway that exceeds this requirement on property zone R1, Single Family Residential District, located at 7 Stingray Harbor Drive. This new driveway is approximately 1.2 feet wider than the allowable maximum of 20 feet due to an error by the builder.
And Mr. Semino, just for the benefit of the record, is it possible that they could or could not have gotten an administrative variance for this particular violation of the side yard setback or the width requirements of the driveway?
They could not have gotten an administrative variance as the driveway is more than 1 foot wider than, more than 1 foot wide. We can only give administrative variances up to a foot.
And I'm correct that the violation in question is 0.2 feet,
That's correct, 0.2 feet.
something like 2.4 inches or thereabouts, right?
No.
And for the benefit of the Board of Adjustment, you have before you, or you should have in your possession, a packet of information prepared by the staff that includes the application and some various attachments that are required, a copy of the code, a copy of the comments that are made by Mr. Semino, copies of the tax map and parcel numbers and names of the adjacent property owners, if I recall correctly. Yep. And you should have, more importantly, a survey that was prepared by Morris and Ritchie Associates relating to Unit 4, number 7 Stingray Harbor Drive, which will give you a visual from which you can make a decision. And all these matters and the matters that are contained in the town's file are addressed by Ms. Oliver and be made part of the record of the hearing. Now, having talked too much, is there someone here from Capstone or on behalf of the applicant? Come forward, please.
Good afternoon. My name is
Your name?
Jake Booth with Capstone Homes.
Will you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give the Board of Adjustment of the town of Ocean View is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may proceed.
As just described, the driveway that was installed as a builder error, and I'm here on behalf of the builder, the person and the group who made the error. Obviously, once we were made aware that the driveway was not in compliance, we consulted with the town on how to remedy the situation and consulted with the homeowner who obviously it's their driveway, and asked them how they'd like us to proceed. Their request for personal reasons was to have the driveway as installed, which is why we applied for a variance, understanding with the town that there could be an administrative variance up to 1 foot, but since we were 1.2, that 0.2 is the reason that we're here today, to kind of just ask for your consideration on the 21.2 width of the driveway.
Is it difficult to remove the 0.2 of a foot?
It is. It would require some, saw cutting and some cosmetic. The issue with that would be some of the cosmetic concern of what the finished product would look like after taking the concrete and saw cutting it. And it's just a preference for the homeowner to have it as it is.
Do you know if Stingray Harbor is a subdivision that has a homeowners association?
Yes.
Has the homeowners association reviewed and made comment on this particular application?
Yes. The Stingray Harbor LLC, the group out of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, because they are in control of the homeowners association right now, and don't have any objection to us, making the application.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, that's it.
Any questions of this gentleman from members of the Board of Adjustment?
I do. Is the builder was aware of the 20-foot max, correct, when the house was being built?
Well, the site plan that we submitted, I believe, showed a 21.2 width of the driveway overall. However, I believe, and I could maybe would ask for some confirmation that the issue is where it actually crosses the easement. So where it ties into the existing driveway, it shows a 21.2 width of the driveway as it approaches the garage area, which we carried down crossing the easement, and that 20 feet crossing the easement is the issue.
Okay, so if it had been dovetailed, so it was 20 feet.
That's
at the
correct.
Street, it would have been in compliance. That's where the 20.
That's
foot
correct.
applies.
For confirmation, I would just ask for Ken to comment.
That's correct. If they would have went from 21.2 at the garage to 20 feet at the right of way line,
It would have been.
it would have been in compliance.
Okay, there are fees involved in seeking this variance,
Mhm.
which I assume are significantly less expensive than carrying a 1.2 feet out of the driveway. I hope that the builder is springing for this rather than having our neighbor have to do it. Is that the case?
I'm sorry, what? Yes, we're handling either. Yeah, we're handling the whole thing for the,
Fine, thank you.
yeah.
Gentlemen, any other questions?
I'm going to sit down for a second while we
Sure.
go through the mechanics of asking the musical question. Are there any persons present who wish to address the Board of Adjustment concerning the application for 7 Stingray Harbor Drive? There appear to be none, ma'am. So I'll close my portion of the public hearing and return the floor to you.
All right. We need,
Oops, wait a minute, I forgot. Hey, Russ, is there anybody online? No.
okay. All right, can anyone make a motion?
I move that the variance be permitted. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried. It's excellent. We would love to have you stay, but if you would not prefer to stay, you're welcome to go. Well, some people have to sit through 4.
It's actually cool. Myself in my car, so.
The next public hearing scheduled for this afternoon is D-432 23 Morrow Court. The property owners are Richard and Kathy Saltzman, and they're seeking an application for a variance from Article 7, Section 140-50-B is in Bravo, which sets some dimensional regulations for planned communities, allows the town council to set other dimensional regulations, and indicates regulations not defined will comply with those set forth in an R3 zoning requirement. The required rear yard setback for principal structures in Ocean View Beach Club is 30 feet as defined in ordinance number 214 adopted by the council on March 6, 2007, Article 5, Section 140-32 indicates that the accessory structures attached to the principal structure shall have the same setback from the rear lot line as the principal structure. The property owners wish to construct an attached accessory structure, screen porch, that will encroach into the required rear yard setback on property zone RPC. I'm going to use Miss Oliver on this one. Miss Oliver, are you familiar with this file? And can you tell me, ma'am, if the notice letters required by law were sent to the adjacent property owners? And and copies appear in the file. Was the property posted? And was an advertisement placed in the Coastal Point noticing this here? Thank you. Mr. Semino, do you have any comments on this particular application?
I do.
And they are.
The applicant, may wish to construct an attached accessory structure, which is a screen porch, that will encroach into the required rear yard setback on a property zoned RPC residential plan community located at 23 Merle's Court. This new dwelling unit was constructed 1.7 feet from the building restriction line at the rear. The proposed screening porch is an extension of the existing 17-foot by 10.3-foot covered porch constructed by the builder. The proposed screen porch would project 8.3 feet into the 30-foot rear yard setback. I want to ask the board to turn to the questionnaire in your packet, Board of Adjustment Standards for Relief that the applicant filled out. And I draw your attention to number 1, uniqueness. The question is, do you have a unique circumstance or condition such as irregularity, narrowness, or shallowness of lot size or shape, or exceptional typographical or other physical condition peculiar to the property? If so, please explain. The applicant's response was that the house was constructed too close to the setback line to allow for extension of porch without variance. Shape of lot is irregular and shallow. Rear lot line is adjacent to the land protected by state regulation, backing up to the Asquewan Canal, which land cannot be built on. Looking at the applicant's plat for their property, the house is built where it could only have been built. It couldn't move forward because it would have been into the side yard setback. This is simply a house, a large house on a small lot.
Are there any questions of Mr. Semino about his report? Is there any person present representing the applicant, or are the applicants here? You're the applicant. Somebody's got to talk. I'll give you the same caveat I give everybody else. Make sure your wife agrees with what you say,
Yes,
or
sir.
you will pay mightily for that. when you get home.
Maybe I'll just let her talk then.
Sir, if you'll give me your name, please.
Richard Saltzman,
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give the Board of Adjustment of the Town of Ocean View is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I did.
And Mrs. Saltzman, do you plan to speak?
I might.
I would have guessed that. So if you'll raise your right hand, and I'm sorry for your injury, but do you swear the testimony you're about to give the Board of Adjustment is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Thank you. Pick a winner. Which one of you wants to go first? Tell us why you want this.
So this is a house that we built with the intention of retiring to Ocean View. We have a large family, and we're looking forward to having the porch so that we can have our family enjoy the outside, have meals back there on the porch. The current configuration of the porch is such that it's rather tight, and it wouldn't accommodate our.
Table for like eight.
I can only have one at a time, okay?
I'll stop in a second and let her talk.
There are
So
two things going on here. One of them is that this process is being recorded so that we can't have a garble between two people trying to talk at once. The second thing is that it's also being broadcast over the internet to those people who choose to watch this thing. And I'm going to add a third thing. Somebody came along here and foolishly took the carpet out of this room. And for us who are sitting up here, it's difficult to tell what you're saying anyway. But if you talk at the same time, it's not good. So, Mrs. Saltzman, I think he's telling you that he's going to go first, right?
I'll do what I usually do and defer to her for a minute and let her talk for a second.
No, I just basically, the porch, it sounds like it's a nice size, but there's only really room for like a table for 4 people and 2 chairs. And we just really enjoy being outside and spending time outside to have our meals. And having the porch a little bit bigger will allow us to have a little more flexibility to be able to really use and enjoy the home. That this is our last home. We're not going to have another home after this one. This is our last rodeo, so to speak. And we just really would like to be able to enjoy our retirement in Ocean View, where we have been in this area for 25 years.
And this is a question for either or both of you. There is a parcel to the rear called parcel D. Can you tell me what's behind your property?
Well, yeah, behind that property is, it's vacant land. My understanding is, it's protected, state land. I'm not sure if that's exactly right, but we've been told it's under DNRAC, control, or, however you describe it. I have a picture of what it looks like if the board wants to look at.
If
that.
you have that, it might be helpful. We're really a lot more casual than we should be. Yeah. Let me, before you leave, I'm gonna hold this up real quick so everybody can see it. Is that the rear property line right there where the woods start?
Yes.
That is the property line. Okay, thank you. Is there a homeowners association in your development?
There is.
And does that, do you have restrictive covenants of any kind that would require somebody to review and approve this particular application?
Not to my knowledge. No, the only requirement that I'm aware of regarding the HOA is that we get what's called ARC, architectural review approval. And that just has to do with the design of the porch. And that would only occur when and if we got the variance.
Just to make sure I understand correctly, they have not yet reviewed your proposal for the variance, but will only review it once a variance is granted, if one is granted.
That's my understanding. Yes.
And I also understand that you have neighbors that have sent in letters or emails of support. That would include Jim and Kathy Deegan at 25 Merle's Court and Betty Blair, Maine. I don't know where she lives. Somewhere in Juneau, Alaska, as far as I can tell.
She's on the other
I
side.
assume she's an adjacent property.
She's on 21 Murrells.
Okay, and each of these people provide support.
Yes, we spoke with both of our neighbors and showed them what we're intending on doing, and they indicated to me that they're very supportive of what we're doing back there.
I have no further question of the applicants. Gentlemen, do you have any, gentlemen, do you have any questions of the applicants concerning this application?
In that property behind your lot D, that buffer, does the Esselman Canal run directly behind that wooded area?
What happens there, right behind our property line, there's a bunch of trees and shrubbery. I think it's about 50 feet or less behind there's a trail that was built by the developer that goes from the end of our cul-de-sac to another cul-de-sac. It's a very short trail, and it runs behind there, about 50 feet behind our property line. And then a ways behind that is the actual canal,
Okay,
directly
so
behind us.
About 100 feet or something like that?
Probably about 100 feet or
Thank
so.
you.
Gentlemen, other questions?
I have a question. I was looking at the email responses from your neighbors where they say, they have no objection. In your text, you say you're asking for a 10-foot extension, but would likely only do a 6-foot extension. I'm wondering what that's all about.
We talked about it, and we were uncertain as to whether we would add on 6 feet or 10 feet. We ultimately decided that we would like to do 10 feet subsequent to that email.
All right.
Along with that same question, that was my question. From 8.3 to 21.7, and you didn't realize that when you were building the house?
All
Actually, when we went to contract with the builder, the builder rep actually told us that there would be no problem and that a variance, nothing about a variance would be required. And so that's what happened regarding that. So that's
Maybe it
shocking.
was not our due diligence and we believed what the builder told us because, you know, a
Would
lot
then
of,
lie to you.
a lot of the houses in the beach club, as you are aware, they clear cutted to, you know, waterside development. So we just looked and we saw how close the houses are together in waterside. And when the builder said, yeah, sure, you can add on to your porch, not a problem. You know, we assumed that he was telling us the
I
truth.
think it's.
Is this
the whole
porch
community
built-
was shocked that that happened.
Never has happened ever in the past.
I don't want to know the name of the builder, but I'm sure you'll approach the builder about recouping the costs of this particular application, correct? They're long.
Good.
We certainly can, yes, yes.
Any other questions? I'm going to sit down for a second. Are there any persons present who wish to speak in favor of the application of Mr. and Mrs. Saltzman? Russell, we get anybody online?
Yes.
You all can't see him, but our tech guys hiding in the closet. Anybody indicating it? Okay, nobody wants to speak in favor. Is there any persons present who wish to speak in opposition?
Gentlemen, anyone? like
Wait a
to-
minute.
oh, excuse me.
We haven't got the good to go sign yet. Good to go? Okay. Based upon Mr. or Sergeant Carter's representations, I'll close the public hearing and return the floor to you, ma'am.
Okay, gentlemen,
I mean, the variance request from Merrill's Court.
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried. Mr. Solicitor, any other business that we need to? take
Yes,
care of?
madam. Let me, for those of you who were not in attendance at lunch today or may have been somewhere else, this is my last meeting as your attorney. It's forever. The lovely young lady to my immediate right, Veronica Faust.
And I'm not saying,
Oh, but she didn't deny that she was lovely. You know, that's why she's was somebody who was my law clerk several years ago, and we've worked together off and on ever since she got out of law school and started practicing law. And she will be your new attorney at your next, starting on August 1st, correct?
Welcome.
And on behalf of the Board of Adjustment and all of us here, we thank you for your service and thank you for what you've done for us and welcome you, Ms. Faust, to our little group here for a while.
gonna be some tough shoes to fill, I'm sure.
She's smarter than
But they're not
I.
heels, so.
All right, now that we're finished with the speeches, and what we need a motion to adjourn, gentlemen.
I will be adjourned. My second.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you.